What comes to mind is what happened almost 15 years ago in Colorado Springs, where part of the Texas Seven, Mr. Newbury and Patrick Murphy, were caught in a Holiday Inn on Garden of the Gods Road. So I think now is Judgment Day, finally, for Mr. Newbury, and but it does take us all back to that day, that evening in Colorado Springs at that Holiday Inn.
There are a lot of inside stories we didn't hear at that time, but there's one that you'd like to tell us about.
When this whole event started unraveling, we knew that we were looking for two individuals that were still loose of the Texas Seven. At one point, my daughter called me. Now, my daughter had, at the time, worked at the Hungry Farmer on Garden of the Gods Road. And she mentioned that there was a van that matched the description in the parking lot behind the Hungry Farmer. And I kind of laughed a little bit and said, well, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of vans back there. And she said, no, you don't understand, Dad. This is the right color. And I looked in, and there's a wig in there, and there's some hair coloring stuff in there. And I said, okay, get away from that van. Just get me a plate number, and I'm going to send some officers over there. Well, lo and behold, that was their van.
Finally, after 5 hours of negotiations, they agreed to come out unarmed in exchange for 5 minutes apiece on live TV. Matt Harrell briefed Eric Singer.
Told him to avoid certain hot topics. You wouldn't want to talk about the police officer they killed.
And under no circumstances should he use the word surrender.
It was an issue of, should journalists be involved in this kind of activity, helping the police? It wasn't so much a questioning of our motives, because I think our motives were pretty clear. They were the ones who specifically singled out Eric Singer as being the person that they wanted to talk to. After thinking about it, discussing it with certainly my peers at that evening, we went ahead and did it, and it worked out. Had it had a different outcome, then I think there might have been criticism labeled or leveled at the police.
Could go ahead and just honor your agreement so that way we can all end the situation peacefully.
What were you thinking as I ended that interview?
Well, I thought, we're almost at that point where we could celebrate that nobody was hurt, including them, and certainly no other individuals and no police officers. But having the officers needing to go into that room, I still wasn't sure. Until they did that sweep, until they recovered the weapons that were in there, the ammunition that was in there, and there was no other further incident, there was always a lingering doubt in the back of my head that something could go wrong. Luckily, nothing did go wrong. They did, as honorable men, give up without a fight, and there was no shots fired, nobody got hurt. So it worked out well.